Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Good to have everybody back here today. This gentleman has offered so much insight in a career that's helped so many others, specifically our kids in school. Many decades as a school psychologist, union. Is it the Reed Union Free School District in California? Do I have that right?
Reed Union.
Reed Union. Yeah. I always get, in my world here in New York, they always used to say Union Free School District. So it's like programmed in my mind. I don't even know what it meant as a kid.
And it was free. People didn't have to spend money to go there. Public school.
And you know where that comes from? I would hear snow closings, and they would read the full name of the school. Not that they needed to, just say, the Reed Elementary School, or whatever it might be. They'd always be Union Free School District, and to find out if your school got closed. He's Allan Gold. He's back with us. How are you doing today?
Okay, fine, thank you. How are you?
Wonderful. It's great to have you back here. You inspired many last time we got together because we've received quite a few emails, which we're going to dig into. By the way, you can always reach us, instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com. And some of these are a blend between people looking at your career path and then some parents dealing with, I guess, call it psychological issues or challenges with their kids. So I'd like to dig in. Are we all set?
Sure. Happy to address those.
Beautiful. So we have Linda, who is checking in from Detroit. She says, my 10-year-old son becomes physically ill before tests and refuses to go to school on exam days. How can I support him at home, and when should I seek professional help?
Okay, that's a serious problem, actually. And I wouldn't say to postpone serious help for a long time. The first thing to do would be to try to figure out what her son is scared of. Because there's a lot of pressure from parents, there's a lot of pressure from teachers to do well on tests. And he may not have a very secure self-esteem. He may worry that if he doesn't do well, other kids are going to make fun of him, his parents will be mad at him, he'll flunk the grade. So it's not unusual. And, depending on the school and the socioeconomic class, like I worked in a very high socioeconomic class, so there was a lot of pressure on kids to do well in school, period. And so it wasn't unusual that kids would be anxious about the test taking. I think it's important to see if he can figure out, he's 10 years old, so he might have some self-awareness. Maybe he takes a longer time. Maybe he's afraid that he's going to be the last one to finish a test and other kids will make fun of him, or he won't finish a test. I think it would be important for the parents to have a discussion with the teacher. What is the environment during test taking? Are kids allowed to get up and move around, take a little break? Sometimes teachers, in my experience, would actually administer tests to a kid privately, and they would feel a little more secure and less pressured if they were just with the teacher at the time. Now, that's not true for everybody. But if it's a deeper difficulty, if he has low self-esteem, if he thinks he's going to fail, if he thinks he can't learn, and it's possible that, maybe he is not a very able student. It would be interesting to see what happened in the past years. If he's 10, he's probably in 4th or 5th grade now, so he's had a number of years of school experience. And then maybe he needs to be assessed for special education if there's serious learning problems. Maybe learning really is difficult. If he's just anxious and feels that the testing situation's going to blow up in his face and he's not going to do well, but he's capable enough, then his self-esteem could be worked on so that, okay, this is only a test, maybe another alternative for the parent and the teacher to work out is if he doesn't do well on a test, he gets a chance to do it over again, which I think is actually a very good general educational strategy. Because what's important is that kids learn things. They don't always have to learn it the first time and the first time that they're tested. So having an opportunity to learn what they didn't know before. Now, he may not study for tests. We don't know that. Maybe he's,
Mm.
at home, he's on his video games all the time before a test, and that's his way of amusing himself, but it also doesn't prepare him for the testing. So I'm talking about a lot of different possibilities here. And I really feel for kids who have that anxiety. It would be interesting to find out if he's anxious about other things. Is he anxious about trying new activities, a sport, or is he anxious about going over to another kid's house for a party? So, if the anxiety is prevailing, then definitely outside therapy would be important. But I think the first thing would be to discuss with him what's really going on. And, if there's, and to talk to the teacher about what she observes in this young student, and to connect him with the school psychologist in the school because we don't want kids to have phobias and fears. And, one way of dealing with phobias is to take little steps to kind of de-afraid somebody, gradually. You know, if, for example, oh, you just answer the questions on the test that you think you know the answer to, and don't worry about the other ones. So there's a lot of possibilities for addressing this.
Uh, you had a higher level of concern when we read that. And I think it may be because the mom says, Linda says that he becomes physically ill prior to a test. I'm thinking that your red light went off there, with that description. Would you say that this is something? It's not just I don't want to take a test. I don't want to go. I'm afraid I'm going to fail. And this seems like it's more of an elevated situation.
Yeah, it does seem more elevated, particularly if he gets physically nauseous or something like that. Then he's really scared,
Yeah.
you know.
Mm.
So like I said, I think first discussing that was with the teacher and asking him what would calm you down? What is so scary about this? And
Mm.
he may or may not be able to articulate that. Some kids are pretty good about it. Other kids, even though they're 10, I don't know, Mom, I don't know. I just get really upset. So then he really would need some counseling to deal with that. And I feel for her
Yeah.
because it's a difficult parenting situation.
So we have another email, and this is about the career. This is from Jared in Hamden, Connecticut. Says, I'm currently a college sophomore studying psychology and considering school psychology as a specialty. Do you find the job emotionally rewarding, or does it become draining over time?
Very good question.
Right? Interesting.
Uh, well, in my 48 years, I did feel it emotionally rewarding more and more and more. Um, we have the privilege, when you're a school psychologist for a district, it's not just one teacher that sees kids for 9 months. You get to see kids from little or whatever school you're in, but at least you get to see them over at least 3 years, like if you're just at a middle school or a high school. Um, and it's a real privilege to watch kids develop and grow. Um, all kids can't have their problems solved in one school year. So you have the opportunity to work with kids over a number of years, which is
Mm.
very satisfying. Um, I always felt, in fact, more and more as my career progressed, um, really rewarded from what I was able to do. And even though I'm retired now, been retired 2 years, the rewards are still continue to come because I maintain contact with former students or parents.
Sure.
I'll bump into somebody that I hadn't seen for a while. And as kids get older, they begin to be able to articulate their their feelings much better and their appreciation. So even though, like, I worked from kindergarten through middle school, and at middle school graduations, yeah, kids could thank me and so on, but as they got older, they could be very specific about something I did to help them, and that's very rewarding.
Mm.
Um, Letters from kids, thank yous, hugs, all of that can be very, very rewarding.
Sure.
And it really grows over time. Um, so just being able to work that long and not feel drained. Now, sometimes specific cases, I don't want to say that there's never any stress or any, pardon that phone, um, it, any stress or any feeling of draining, because some cases are very hard.
Sure.
And, you sometimes take them home at night and you think, what am I going to do? I'm not sure how to handle this one. And that's why being a school psychologist it's not a lonely profession because with every kid you have the opportunity to work as a team. And by that I mean you can work with parents, you can work with outside therapists, you work with the teachers, you work with the kids, you work with the administrators. So the responsibility, while people look up to you with respect, and the longer you work, the more people feel that, yeah, I really have to go to my school psychologist. He or she knows what they're doing. But you have that opportunity to work with other people to solve the problems. And even if you don't know, I mean, I've always had my own personal therapist, and for after at the end of the week, if I had problems, I would always have my therapy session on a Friday, and I could spend half the time or part of the time or sometimes all the time talking about a particularly difficult and challenging situation that I wanted to at least brainstorm some ideas.
Mm.
But the the reward is that you feel like the basic reward of the job is that you feel you are doing good for other people. Even if it's a puzzle and it's difficult to solve, that sense that you are giving of yourself to help other people, to help parents, to help teachers, to help kids. That's what is rewarding to me. And in this world where selfishness, at least in American culture, has a dominant effect, I think just the sense that, like I have no regrets about my um, employment and my career. I feel when I go, I will feel like I did the best I could to help other people. And and I think, even looking at religion and seeing what religions say about helping other people, and I think they all advocate for that. And so that's what's really rewarding. So the individual day might be challenging, it might be stressful, you might be tired when you go home, but the bigger picture is that you have spent your time and your energy and your knowledge and your skills and your emotional um, capacity to help other people. And that's what's so rewarding about it.
I don't think there's anything more rewarding than what you do and how, example, and we've had her on before. It was Jessie, right?
Yeah,
You
my former student. Yeah,
you met her when she was kindergarten, and now
right.
she's in her low 20s. And
Yeah.
even after she was out of school, she still leans on you for advice, direction, and you formed a bond. And she knows you've been there for like almost since the beginning of her life, and you're still there. I mean,
And she's not the only one. I mean, that's
yeah,
one thing that as a helping person, when you retire, I think it's very difficult. That's been a challenge for me, because you spend your life trying to help other people, and all of a sudden you don't have that opportunity anymore. So I have, Jesse's not the only former student. I have other former students who are ranging in age from 20s to 57 almost. I was just visiting another former student I met when she was about 10, and she has some illnesses. Her parents are having a lot of challenges. Mother is actually passing away, and I visited her the other day to give support. Um, I have another former student that I also visited the other day, who's 30 now, and I'm very close to his mom, and we talk about his career. Um, Another student, I've been working with her daughter. She was a student of mine. She's now 48 almost 49. Actually, she's
wow.
48. She'll be 49. And her daughter has some school issues, and I meet with her fairly regularly. So, having that opportunity to apply your skills and your knowledge and your care, even after um, even after you retire or after they're no longer students. And I don't think they would want me to do that if they didn't feel that I could be of some help. So that's all rewarding.
Sure.
You feel like a useful human being.
If you weren't impactful in their lives, they wouldn't keep coming back asking you for help. Let's go to Maya and checking in from Riverhead, New York. She says, my 14-year-old daughter used to be very social, but now she spends almost all of her time alone in her room. She says she's, and this is in quotations, just tired, but I'm worried. How can I tell if this is normal or a red flag?
Okay, that's a very good question. I assume she's in maybe ninth grade now. Um, who knows what's happening for her socially? Again, the parents ask these questions, and there's a lot of information. I mean, that's the job of a school psychologist, is to figure out as much factual information and emotional information as you can.
Hmm.
So she may, in fact, be tired. Maybe she just started high school, and there's a lot of I've dealt with middle school kids and certainly heard about high school kids who have enough, they don't want to be social anymore, because middle school and high school social interactions are very intense. Now, we don't know what's happening on social media either with this young lady. Um, who knows how she's being treated, and maybe she's being mistreated, even abused by other people on the social media. But there's a lot of social interaction in high school and middle school, and I've certainly known kids who had been more social and then they just want to stay home. Um, but I think it's important for the mom to look at this, her daughter's general mood. Is she seeming depressed? If depressed, then yes, therapy is certainly
Hmm.
important. Um, it would be interesting to find out at school, is she isolated? Does she isolate herself
Hmm.
during lunch? Ask her or contact counselors at a counselor at school to do some observation there, or a school psychologist. If she's just sitting all by herself and not interacting with anybody, um, that's that's a serious problem. Does she lack social skills? Has she always been this way? Or although the mom said she used to be more social, is that correct?
Yes, and now she's spending a lot of time in a room,
Yeah.
but that's, I have a teenage daughter, and it's kind of the same. They spend a lot of time, doing
Yeah.
a thing.
Now, who knows what she's doing? Maybe if she's in her room, is she on her computer on social media and using it for her own satisfaction and amusement? If she were a boy, she'd probably be on video games. So is she using the computer and the social media as an excuse? Is that her socializing? And these days, that's not so unusual.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
it's
know,
funny. I have friends, and I describe my daughter's room compared to theirs, who are around the same age, and it's kind of the same. I'm in terms of what the room looks like. A lot of kids like them dark. They have LED lights around the ceiling and all of that. I can't tell you how many LED lights I've put up in my lifetime. Um, but I'm feeling if mom is checking in as she did, her intuition is saying this is not just my kids hanging out in a room. There's a little bit more. Um, I'm not the professional. That's just a parental
no, well, I
vibe I
think
got.
parents need to listen to their gut,
Yeah.
and their intuition, um, and just observe really well and try to find out, does she have any friends at all?
Mm.
Because that's super important. Um, what does she do at school? These are important things to find out because if she's feeling really isolated, then there's probably a reason for it.
So we got a
And
couple of minutes left. I want to get to this next one. This
oh, we're
is,
just doing a half an hour today.
as I understand
Oh, okay.
it.
That's fine.
This one is from Brian, Gainesville, Florida. He says he wrote, "Dear Psychologist." He says, "My 7-year-old daughter was recently diagnosed with ADHD, but I'm not sure I agree. The school says she's just energetic. Should I get a second opinion? How often are these diagnoses accurate?"
Okay, very good question, particularly if she's only 7. Um, you, we usually wait until 8 years old to make a diagnosis. I mean, I've seen very, wild kids, but sometimes kids are just that way. They have a lot of energy.
Hmm.
And if she's only 7, she may be in first or second grade. Um, I would opt for an additional diagnosis by the time she turns 8. But it would be important to try something to see if she can uh, control any of this. And it will be also hopefully the assessment included parental observations because when I used to diagnose kids for ADHD, we would have I would do or other activities where kids needed to pay attention. Two, I would get questionnaires filled out by the teacher and then a questionnaire filled out by the parent. So you see how the kid is at home, at school, and then can they actually pay attention doing some specific memory attention type tasks. So I don't know if that assessment did all that.
Mm.
Um, Sometimes just going to a doctor, they'll look at a kid for 10 minutes and say, oh, yeah, he or she has ADHD. I don't think that's good. It takes, again, a team, at least parental and, um, teacher observation of the kid.
I love what
Uh,
you just said in terms of pulling information from different sources. And I would imagine if it corroborates, from a couple of teachers. Now, the parent, obviously. What did the doctor
Now,
say?
another thing um, w would be to and this is something I always did, particularly with younger kids. I would set up a reward system, a contract, now to see if you can really reward the kid so they can control their behavior and earn
Mm.
their reward. It can be a home reward. It can be a school reward. And I would work with kids generally a little bit older, but they really wanted to earn the reward, but they couldn't control their ADHD behavior. And that says a lot.
Yeah.
So, I used to do that with parents who were really reluctant to medicate their kids. I mean, I really supported medication, particularly for the, somewhat older kids, because I saw it working very well. Sometimes I would see bad side effects, but there's a number of different medications now that can be used, and it can flip a switch. I mean, I saw kids in middle school who were getting D's and F's or very low grades, and then they went on some ADHD medication, and then they started getting A's and B's. Doesn't work for everybody, but it can be really helpful. So I would wait. I would recommend setting up a contract with the teacher, and that can include behavior at home, and find out something that this child would really like to earn, and see if was it a he or she?
Daughter, 7-year-old.
Daughter, yeah. If she can control that behavior, because if she can't and really wants to win this reward, that says a lot. So working with the daughter on the contract would be very important, and that's how I used to do that.
I love that idea, because now if it's going to work, you know it's going to work, assuming that your child understands, you get this if you do that.
Right.
We're out of time. Thank you for today. Lots of insight, a lot of things. We went from career to parental challenges, and that's why you're our man of the year. You got it locked down in terms of what you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great.
I thank you. Thanks for always being here and helping.
Good to see you.
You
see
too.
you again, I'm sure.
And I want to share instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com. If you have any questions for Allan of any kind, we'd love to field them here. All right. We'll catch up soon.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge?
Got to get this all straightened out. Give a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend?
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.